it's always really emotional right after the game, and then fortunately there were a lot of family that were at the game, so the players got a chance to spend time with them, and that certainly helps. And it was, obviously it's when you're in a 2 out of 3 series and you lose game one, you don't want to tell the team, all right, we're checking out of the hotel, just in case we lose and we're just going to leave. I mean, that sends the wrong message. So we said we're not checking out. If our plan was to be back there and play again on Sunday, and I said in the event that we don't, then obviously we'll go back and get all our stuff at that point. So, and we were about 20 minutes away from Laban where we were staying. So, so that was part of it. We went there and everybody got their stuff and back on the bus. And I think it was a little after 7:00 when we finally started to hit the road. The players were watching movies and they were watching games. They were watching the different games that were on TV, whether it was any other playoff games or the men's team was playing. So there was, and the players have their routines. You can just hear them, talking and laughing. And then somebody threw a Hannah Montana movie on, so they were watching that as long as they wanted. I didn't put any time frame on it. I think they're all, they've all done this enough. They kind of realize, we got to get going and actually we had our post game meal hadn't even been delivered yet, so it kind of all worked out because we were kind of waiting for that. And by the time everybody was on the bus, it showed up like a couple minutes later. So, but we didn't put any time on it. Just again, at the end of the year, you're going to give them as much time as they want. And that's all part of it for the players that are done. It's the last time going through all that. So you don't want to rush them. You want to let them spend as much time like that as they need. First of all, given the nature of our business and we know that we're going to be judged externally by our 1-loss record. And that comes with the territory. But I got to tell our team, we'd never do that in our locker room. We're never going to judge how we do and how the year went based on our 1-loss record. And like I told the group, it's just one of my funnest years, and just in terms of coming to the rink every day, spending time with them. It was just a fun group. And again, we've talked before about how connected they were. And I think that had a lot to do with it. But when you think about, we had a 28 player roster, which is, by far the most we've ever had. And that means that there's 6 players every game that are not in the lineup. And that's not easy because they're all Division I players. They all want to play. They're all good players. And like I told them yesterday in our meeting, I know, not everybody is going to be, agree with every decision that I make as the head coach. I mean, that again comes with it, and that's fine. But I said, I just appreciated the fact that they were always able to put the team first, because we never had any, pouting, finger pointing, clicks, getting negative. I mean, they stuck together as a group really, really well. And to me, that it speaks to our leadership, but just the type of people that we have in that locker room, that they were able to do that. So, from that standpoint, it was a lot of fun. And obviously after last year, how rough things went and everything we had to do to be able to get all 32 of our games in and not have any weekends lost because of COVID, that was special. And so, and we saw a lot of development in terms of our players. So it's definitely a lot of positives. I mean, I always want to win more games, Christian, don't get me wrong. We wanted to finish higher than we did. And that's certainly disappointing, but again, just from a standpoint of coming to work every day, enjoying what we were doing as a staff, it was a lot of fun. It's obviously you're always gonna do a deep dive in how we can improve, what we can do to get better. That includes everything, staffing and how our practices went and game planning, just how everything went. But in terms of for me personally, like I said, I enjoyed coming to the rink every day. And to me, that's the biggest part. If I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, and that's not, that's a red flag, because you're spending a lot of time away from your family, and it's again, a very competitive business. And, we know that. And, but at the same time, it's watching the players grow as individuals, and just watching their relationship and how they interact. And to me, that's a big part of it, just watching how they interact together, like on the road, just, whether they're sitting at a table, just listening to them, they're things they're talking about, and sometimes just off the walls, it can be pretty hilarious. But, and then, you see a fifth year player sitting down with a freshman, one might be 22, 23, the other one's 18 years old, and they're sitting down and visiting, and they're all really close. They're all best friends, and to me, that's what it's all about. And from that standpoint, that's why, to me, it was a really fun year. And no question, Christian, that's a really good point. Just that whole, that trip, obviously it was a long one. It was kind of we left Wednesday, stopped in Cedar Rapids, and then, drove the rest of the way. And then everything that we did on that trip, from seeing the arch, going to the NHL game, but obviously winning games is always going to help. I mean, that's, winning games at this level is it's hard, but it can be really almost euphoric, and you build that confidence. And we won, we had a couple stretches. We won 4 games there. We had a good series to finish that half against Mankato, where we won, and then we tied. And so obviously that helped. That the trip to St. Louis was one. Again, the whole team was able to go. And again, it's that bonding time that you get. And that certainly helped. It helped, again, build confidence going into that break. And you could tell the group didn't really want to necessarily go at the time, but obviously it's Christmas and you got to do that. But they were anxious to get back and get our second half started, which was obviously really important. See, our goal is always to get points, every series, and obviously easier said than done, right? And it had been a long time since we had gotten a point in Madison. And so that was big, no question. That was big. And certainly the series against Clarkson was one of the highlights against a top 10 team. They remain in the top 10 pretty much all year long. And like I said, the winning streaks, the game against Wisconsin, and then certainly that game against Ohio State is, like I told the team, that's one that nobody will ever forget. But at the same time, there were a couple, 2 teams we didn't get any points off of this year. And that's, again, that's something you always want to try to do. And again, every point is so valuable. And that was really, came home to roost for us going into that last series. You're down a point, all because of a shootout loss. And that's how important every point is. It can make all the difference when it comes down to the end.